I found my wife's special toy uncovered her 17-year lie. I would like to compose a letter of appreciation to Dyson. I found my wife, a 49-year-old woman, after 17 years together. During an 18-month affair, I updated the fan filter on the application it utilizes. We have been married for 17 years and do not have any children of our own. She has experienced one divorce and has two daughters, now aged 28 and 23, whom I assisted in raising before our marriage. In my view, we've encountered only minor bumps and issues. We maintain a transparent and accessible line of communication, addressing work-related matters, personal frustrations, intimate topics, and our emotional states with ease. Frequently, we engage in discussions on the couch about life and philosophy in a broad sense. I sensed that we shared a profound connection and enjoyed a deeply satisfying, intimate life. We are both in excellent condition and uphold a healthy lifestyle. In my role within the medical field, I have been dedicating a significant amount of overtime over the past 5 months due to the current circumstances. She is employed at a legal consultancy and has been working remotely for the last 5 months, which has created a sense of distance. However, on our days off, we maintain a close connection. Last night, I replaced the filter on the Dyson fan in our bedroom. I inquired with my wife about the possibility of using her phone to update the app so I could reset the change filter alert. My device was charging beside the front door. I observed that she had implemented a pattern unlock and felt inclined to inquire about the reasoning behind it. While I was searching for the app on her phone, a notification from Snapchat appeared. As I read the small tag, a wave of unease washed over me. "The special toy will be brought," it stated. While my brain processed the words, my mind ceased to operate. She inquired about the issue after what seemed like several minutes of my silent contemplation, fixated on the bedroom fan. My wife is required to attend a quarterly out-of-town meeting that takes her 2 states away for 5 days, each business quarter. I was aware that it pertained to the upcoming trip on Monday. I have explored Reddit for years under the veil of anonymity. Throughout my reading journey, I have encountered countless narratives that commence in this manner, yet I have never envisioned myself seated on my bedroom floor, enveloped in a chilling, bewildered silence. I responded, stating that I was simply gathering information regarding the IPN router. The fan conveys information to the application in this manner. She logged into Facebook yesterday on my Chromebook. I requested a week's vacation on short notice. My supervisor is quite understanding, and after explaining my recent findings and the necessary actions, I will require this time off. I spent the entire night reviewing her messages. She just departed for the office, and I ensured that the Google location history was enabled and that the Find My Phone feature was active. I find myself questioning every action she takes, to the point where I struggle to face my own reflection. She remains unaware that I noticed the message notification. I accessed the messaging system utilized by Verizon and successfully signed in using her number along with my name. At least 15,000 have been recorded, dating back to February of the previous year. Communications, humorous images, playful photographs, and a selection of adult-themed content as well. She ceased communicating with him in this manner approximately 3 months prior. I continued to text him, but I ceased using the messaging app provided by Verizon. It seems they opted for Snapchat due to its discreet nature. I do not engage with social media in any capacity whatsoever. I find myself at a loss for understanding. And I have just discovered that logging into Snapchat via Facebook is not possible. All it requires is an email address and a password. She has utilized this Chromebook to accomplish that task. Just 3 nights ago, she used it while lying in bed beside me, gently rubbing my back as I drifted off to sleep. She sent him a message and engaged in intimate conversation while lying beside me. A younger colleague from the office. He is a married man with 3 young children. He and his spouse maintain a presence on Facebook. I have encountered him on 2 occasions, extended his hand for a firm handshake. I find myself at a complete loss once more, having aimlessly roamed through the house I meticulously designed for her, for hours on end. I find it difficult to sense anything at all. The limited thoughts I am processing are consumed by an intense, seething anger. I accessed Snapchat, and everything was right there before me. I reached out to my closest friend, who has experienced 3 divorces. Let's not delve into his choice of partners. He suggested a formidable attorney. I intend to record and preserve all content meticulously. There are pictures of them engaging in intimate activities. It is likely that either her phone or his contains video footage. I fervently wish for this to be nothing more than a fleeting nightmare. She has made some unkind remarks about me. She has shared my insecurities with him. She has expressed her love for him. The absence of long-term plans suggests that this relationship is primarily based on physical attraction. It nearly enhances the experience. However, it significantly exacerbates the situation. She is truly discarding our life for this. She understands that infidelity is a definitive deal breaker for me. On the day she departs for her meetings, our customary practice involves me driving her to the airport, where I bid her farewell with a heartfelt goodbye. I find it challenging to focus on my current tasks. My friend suggests that I print out the entire content to explore the possibility of recovering information from Snapchat. Based on my understanding, it appears that I cannot proceed without her phone. I intend to meet with the lawyer today. I am investing a considerable sum to secure a place in her appointment queue. Initiate the process and, with any luck, receive a strategic plan from her. I am eager to secure a flight to join my wife at her hotel and observe her activities firsthand. I have obtained access to her hotel booking options and designated myself as a contact person, allowing me to acquire a room key discreetly. I plan to log into the messaging apps upon my arrival in town and observe the events unfold in real time. Should I manage to prepare the documents promptly, I would present them to her. I will simply provide her with the printouts. The document consists of 600 pages in PDF format. His spouse has accepted my friend request. I am considering the possibility of sending everything at this moment. I am filled with intense anger. I simply wish to retain every possible advantage. I will be flying there on Monday afternoon, logging in to review the discussions, obtaining a room key for my wife's accommodation, and delivering the package containing my wedding ring to the designated room. I will be seated at the bar, observing as my phone receives a flurry of notifications. I will contact the AP and request that he meet me in the lobby or bar, bringing my wife along. I will then inform him that a similar package has been sent via certified mail to his home, addressed to his wife, and that I intend to send a Facebook message at the same time I share this information with him. It seems trivial and lacking in strength. I feel an overwhelming urge to express my frustration, yet I find myself powerless. This morning, I could only offer her a gentle peck on the cheek as a farewell. I find it quite difficult to meet her gaze. I must find a way to navigate the weekend ahead. Am I truly questioning whether my plan, driven by spite and fueled by hate, holds any value? At this juncture, my desire is solely to cause suffering. I wish to cause her emotional pain. I feel utterly exposed and diminished. I will not accept an apology. This is the singular act that cannot be forgiven. Cheating on someone involves numerous intricate steps. All can be halted until the sin reaches its conclusion. It is now complete. Should I confront her tonight or try to catch her off guard? I believe I will refrain from making any updates. I am seriously considering the possibility of stepping away from social media entirely and seeking a partner who shares this perspective as I move forward. ETA, I have located the special toy. Remember, we have a collection of adult pleasure items at your disposal. It was already packed in her carry-on. This is a remote control vibrator designed to be operated via an app. It appears to be quite costly. I have a meeting with the lawyer in 90 minutes. First update, I had a meeting with the lawyer. She demonstrated genuine kindness, and I would venture to say, compassion towards me. She stated unequivocally that her role was to advocate for me in this battle for my future. My role in this situation was to convey the entire truth and ensure her responsibilities were not made more difficult. I visited Kinko's to print the file. The total expense for color amounted to $534, as I aimed to ensure the pictures truly stand out. A special acknowledgement to Chris at Kinko's for maintaining composure during the unexpected situation with the photos. He inquired about the matter, and I provided him with the details. He appeared surprised, yet he extended his hand and offered an apology. I returned home and rested for approximately 3 hours, and my soon-to-be ex-wife arrived around 7:30 p.m. as is customary. The attorney advised against any imagined Hollywood-style confrontation in a hotel bar, suggesting it would appear quite absurd and unlikely to occur at all. I extend my apologies to those who were anticipating the high drama. Ultimately, she is correct. There are 2 paths to consider when it comes to divorce: contested or uncontested. She informed me that I must notify my soon-to-be ex-wife of my decision to retain legal counsel. To move forward, my soon-to-be ex-wife will need to either contest the divorce or we can proceed through mediation and file from that point. She arrived home approximately 2 hours ago. I inquired whether there was anything she wished to discuss. She mentioned nothing apart from the election. She subsequently inquired about what was troubling me. I felt the urge to cry. Yet in all honesty, I had exhausted my tears. I expressed my curiosity regarding the presence of a remote control vibrator in her luggage. The expression on her face conveyed more than anything I have ever witnessed. Her expression was one of panic, her complexion notably pale. Her breathing quickened, and beads of sweat formed. I inquired about her reasons for possessing something like that. Who possessed the code and the corresponding application? She faltered, and the tears started to flow. Upon retrieving my 3 file folders filled with text exchanges, I inquired whether the AP's wife would possess it. She wept and implored that she had an explanation to offer. I informed her that she had 5 minutes to complete the task. Certainly she was unable to. I informed her that my lawyer advised me to convey this message to her. I instructed her to depart as well. She shouted that it was her house as well. I informed her with composure that it was a possibility, but I would be alerting everyone regarding her infidelity and treachery, that the girls will be aware of as well. Alternatively, she may choose to depart now and secure temporary living arrangements. She will be attending her work conference for an entire week. She found herself at a loss for words. I quietly accessed Facebook and presented her with the AP's wife. Do you prefer that I inform her, or will you be addressing it at this moment? Emotions ran high with tears, moans, and desperate pleas of love, accompanied by the realization that it was never meant to reach this point. Next, my preferred choice. This is not permissible. I remarked, it appears that I am indeed proceeding with it. I sent the AP's wife a message containing the file of their escapades. I began with an apology and a concise explanation. I have yet to receive a response from her. I sifted through the piles of documents and began to read selected passages aloud to my soon-to-be ex-wife. I long for the opportunity to spend an entire day in each other's company. Only you within me. Your intensity surpasses that of any other woman I have ever encountered. She continues to sob and has requested to discuss our relationship. She believes our marriage is strong enough to endure her mistake. I expressed to her that forgiveness would not be possible for me. Her statement is unequivocal, and she claims to have discarded the last 17 years. I am still considering the option of informing HR, and I plan to share the details of her choice to conclude our marriage through infidelity with others. I appreciate all the responses received. Thank you. I regret that I was unable to reply to all the private messages and responses. I have a therapy appointment set for Tuesday. I feel an overwhelming sense of elation. I am experiencing intense tremors and a profound sense of despair at this moment. I am feeling overwhelmed and struggling with my emotions. The residence remains largely tranquil, save for the sounds of her weeping and lamentation. I advised her against returning after her trip. I am in the process of sending friend requests and working to connect with everyone on my page. I will proceed to distribute it to everyone in that manner. I will wait until morning to reach out to the girls. I have been raising them since they were 11 and 6 years old. They are now women, aged 28 and 23. I am uncertain about what to communicate to them or how to manage the situation. To those who persistently claimed that is not the correct functioning of Snapchat, indeed, you are right. She maintained that in the background, it was WhatsApp. I don't particularly care. I observed it. I would like to express my gratitude to Dyson for their exceptional app and the outstanding fan I received from my brother-in-law this Christmas. Here it is. I will provide a more comprehensive overview of our circumstances to offer insight into my feelings on the matter. My initial post resembled a stream of consciousness and conveyed a sense of disconnection that mirrored my feelings at the time. I attended college in Las Vegas during the mid-1990s. I completed my graduation in 1999. I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. I made my way around. During this pivotal period, I resolved to remain unmarried. The notion is antiquated, effectively eliminating the possibility, and I certainly had no desire for children. Upon graduating with my nursing degree, I swiftly distinguished myself in the field of cardiovascular intensive care. In 2001, I relocated to Texas to pursue my master's degree, aiming to become an advanced practice RN nurse practitioner with a focus on cardiovascular surgery. During this time, I made the decision to pursue medical school and adjusted my coursework to meet the necessary requirements for application. It was at that moment that I encountered my soon-to-be ex-wife. She was a petite, plump individual, what the younger generation might refer to as thick, with vibrant red hair and a fiery personality. Our paths crossed within a code. The experience was profoundly intense, the allure and the romance. We expressed our love for each other within 3 months. She was a mother of 2, and I had expressed my desire to be child-free. She had been divorced for approximately 2 years. She had recently emerged from a tumultuous relationship characterized by its cyclical nature when we crossed paths. Our relationship spanned approximately 2 years, during which she gradually introduced her daughters, aged 11 and 6, into my life. One evening, she took the time to sit me down and delivered a heartfelt yet pragmatic discussion about our relationship, where we stood at that moment, and what she needed and expected from me or any future partner. She essentially stated that it was time to either commit to marriage or part ways. I maintained a strong stance against marriage, and she honored that perspective. She shared this with me to allow time for reflection on our relationship and the possibilities that lie ahead. She made a valid observation about our 8 months of living together, noting that we even had each other listed as contacts. With a touch of humor, she remarked that the only thing left was to add each other to our insurance policies. We had a candid discussion and reached a consensus to proceed for a while longer, but I would ultimately need to make the final decision. 2 weeks later, I received an acceptance letter from a medical school located approximately 2 hours away. I experienced a whirlwind of emotions, feeling both elated and devastated simultaneously. Having recently celebrated my 26th birthday, I was on the verge of achieving a significant life milestone. It dawned on me that I would never again encounter her or the girls. I allowed my self-doubt to overwhelm me. The journey of becoming a medical student, followed by residency and culminating in a fellowship, is anticipated to span approximately 7 years. Throughout this time, I was unable to generate the income necessary to sustain the lifestyle we had become accustomed to. I contemplated the possibility of enduring 7 years filled with loans, debt, and labor, all while facing the potential loss of her. I opted to decline and transition back to pursuing a master's in nursing administration. Our wedding took place in July of 2003. The ceremony was intimate and personal, attended solely by immediate family and close friends. Although my parents cherish the girls as they should, they have consistently maintained a distance from my soon-to-be ex-wife. On Monday, when I informed my parents about the situation and the genuine possibility that the girls might become less present in their lives, they expressed their belief that my soon-to-be ex-wife was damaged goods due to her previous marriage and the compromises she had imposed on me. That truly resonated, and to some degree, they were indeed correct. Upon my graduation, I had no desire to pursue a role as a manager or director. I am an individual who enjoys providing direct care to patients. The hospital where I received care provided a certification in ECMO, along with a credential for perfusionists. I successfully gained admission despite the intense competition of the application process. For the past 11 years, I have been engaged in ECMO and all associated practices. I have thoroughly enjoyed the experience, though it has presented its share of challenges and moments of heartbreak. My soon-to-be ex-wife determined approximately 5 years ago that her role as an RN on the floor had reached its conclusion, and she sought a more traditional 9-to-5 position that would exclude patient interaction and drama. She secured a position through a connection at a multi-state legal consultancy that focuses on medical legal cases. She extracts information from patient charts and delivers it in the specified format. Thus, we have established the framework. On Saturday morning, 2 days after D-Day, I managed to get only a few hours of sleep. I experienced unsettling and troubling reflections about my future and existence. I have, and continue to have, thoughts and scenarios involving death and violence directed towards them and myself. As I prepared breakfast in the kitchen, crafting eggs and toast, she entered, her eyes still heavy with sleep. She inquired whether I could prepare some for her. I discarded it in the trash right in front of her. I subsequently set up my record player and played music at a rather high volume to discourage any attempts at conversation from my youth. Truly sophisticated, I must say. I started engaging in extensive pain shopping, meticulously reviewing the printout in chronological sequence. I have mixed feelings about recommending it. By the afternoon, I had completed my work with Black Fang and Danzig. I was enjoying breakup songs by Chris Isaak and Ray LaMontagne from Torch. She drew near once more. This time, she expressed a sense of indignation, questioning the purpose of notifying the AP's wife. I gazed at her for what seemed to be an excessive duration, somewhat bewildered. I conveyed to her directly that, at the very least, she, as AP's wife, would have the opportunity to make an informed decision regarding her future rather than compromising and sacrificing for someone who would betray them so selfishly. It seems that my message to AP's wife was acknowledged, and the situation for him was not favorable. She settled onto the couch, her emotions overwhelming her as tears began to flow and sobs escaped her lips. I informed her that I had exhausted my tears, and more accurately, I felt so emotionally numb that I would address it later, once I had completed what needed to be accomplished. With a hint of hesitation, her voice stripped of all indignation and bravado, she inquired about what other tasks I had to attend to. I instructed her to bring chaos to your existence and inflict upon you the suffering I currently endure. I expressed to her that if she held any respect or affection for me, she would unlock her phone and share everything with me. She declined, stating that it was inconsequential and that all I would do is hold it over her. I expressed that there exists a facet of my being, the completionist within, that yearned for knowledge. She declined and proceeded to the guest bedroom. I discovered the HR new hire paperwork belonging to her company. I contacted their corporate compliance line and left a comprehensive message. The soon-to-be ex-wife and the associated party engaged in discussions regarding client information that included protected health information, utilizing an unsecured and non-approved messaging system. I also communicated that she served as his acting supervisor on 2 projects during a specific time frame that aligns with the sexually inappropriate messages. Finally, I noted that both individuals utilized their subsidized phones to share pornographic content, including images, text messages, and videos. That was certainly an unacceptable action as well. I have always perceived myself as a calm and logical individual throughout my life. This has shattered that aspect of my being. I am uncertain about the origins of this anger. I have some concerns. Will it come to a halt? Ultimately, I understand that to move forward, I must accept her apology and forgive her for her errors. I find myself uncertain of my capabilities, and this concern weighs heavily on my mind. That evening, I proceeded to inform family and friends about the situation and her actions. I reached out to a physician friend to request a favor regarding a checkup and an STD screening. He possessed inquiries. I provided a response. I began to feel drowsy around 8 o'clock. Sunday, 3 days post D-Day. I made the decision to drive and visit the girls. They are approximately 3 hours distant. The youngest is currently enrolled in college for 1 more semester. It may extend further. Thank you, 2020. My emotions regarding them have been quite intense since this all started. I have established a respectful and friendly relationship with them, though it lacks a paternal quality. The oldest in particular. We maintain a friendly demeanor, yet there remains an underlying sense of distance, as if to say, "You're not my dad." The youngest may not exhibit it as much individually, but when they are together, it becomes more pronounced. I departed early on Sunday at approximately 5 a.m. and arrived at their condo, which is funded by their fathers, just after 8:45 a.m. I provided them with kolaches and excellent coffee. Concern for their mother arose instantly, even before I spoke a word. I informed them directly about the situation and mentioned that their mother would likely be moving in the next 3 to 6 months. I can sincerely affirm that addressing this matter in person was the most appropriate course of action. I disclosed all the details to them. She left them feeling disappointed. I conveyed to them that my intention was not to sway them to one side or another. I acknowledged their status as adults navigating a unique situation within our relationship, and I made it clear that if they chose not to engage or maintain a relationship with me, that was perfectly acceptable. I would feel a mix of disappointment and relief. I conveyed to them that our relationship, or the absence of it, should not impact their grandparents, who are my parents. Both parties expressed a strong desire to maintain communication with their grandparents. I departed from there at approximately 11 and made my way home. I visited my closest friend's home and shed a few tears. I had effectively contributed to their upbringing to the best of my ability.
Their father was largely absent throughout their childhood, eventually establishing another family 6 hours away. My closest companion determined that I had consumed enough over the last 72 hours and that it was time for me to rest. I spent the night at his residence. I observed that my soon-to-be ex-wife had been repeatedly calling me after I departed from the girls' place. Regrettably, I found myself too fatigued and in a rather bleak state of mind to be concerned. Monday, 4 days after D-Day. I returned home at approximately 8 o'clock and observed that her Porsche remained parked outside. I briefly considered the possibility that she had used a rideshare service or navigation app to reach the airport. No, she had not. She was awake and had prepared breakfast. She invited me to take a seat and share a meal with her. I have done so. She inquired about the flavor. I conveyed my message to her in a manner reminiscent of static.
I expressed to her that for the past 5 days I have struggled to experience anything beyond bitterness and anger. She reported her absence due to illness and did not attend the quarterly meeting. She attempted to express her concerns for my well-being and conveyed the depth of her love for me. Yesterday around noon, she received a call from her eldest, expressing deep concern regarding her behavior. I chuckled. As I proceeded, it became clear that it was not a humorous laugh. The atmosphere was charged with a frenetic energy that caught me off guard. I expressed, "Oh, how deeply you cherish me." You have engaged in a year and a half of deceitful conduct behind my back. Your affection for me is so profound that you engage with another married man. You care for me deeply, having sacrificed nearly half of my life because she never provided an explanation for her actions. I conveyed that to her, and it only exacerbated the situation. I approached the liquor service and retrieved the bottle. The bottle was an 18-year Glenfiddich, a thoughtful gift from my grandfather to celebrate our marriage. It has been our tradition to enjoy a small sip on our anniversary night, reflecting on how things improve with time and patience. I consumed the last of it in one swift motion. Approximately 1/3 of the bottle remained. I expressed my apologies for not offering her any, as I felt she did not merit it. I entered the bedroom and started removing all the pictures from the wall that featured us or her. The items were arranged on the kitchen table. She had departed. My attorney, or more specifically her paralegal, reached out to inform me that the divorce petition was prepared and required my signature before it could be filed. Consequently, my soon-to-be ex-wife would be served within 10 business days. I perused it swiftly while enjoying a fine premium scotch. E signed the document and clicked send. I received a message from the wife of the AP. She expressed her gratitude for this unpleasant yet valuable revelation with a hint of reluctance. She chose not to engage in conversation with me, but expressed a desire to send me a message instead. She discovered messages and videos featuring other women in addition to my soon-to-be ex-wife. She expelled him from her life and was preparing to consult an attorney shortly. They reside in California. He is in a difficult situation. I continued to enjoy some music while indulging in a few additional drinks. I drifted off to sleep at approximately 4 p.m. I noticed her arrival at approximately 10 o'clock. She observed the collection of photographs and items that once held significance for us. She started to cry and pleaded with me to engage in conversation. I merely posed a single inquiry. What is the reason behind this? She repeatedly stated that she was unaware. I referred to her in unflattering terms and remarked that she had made numerous choices to arrive at merely the initial message. She was the one who initiated it. I was rather uninhibited in my speech as a result of having consumed alcohol. I chuckled at her and began to remove my clothing, remarking, "You discarded this," while gesturing toward my body. I may face consequences for this, but I stand at 6 feet 4 inches tall and weigh 200 pounds. Until last week, I maintained a routine of jogging and weightlifting 4 times a week. For an unremarkable individual who was unlikely to contribute anything meaningful to her life. I entered my room and took a shower. Upon my exit, I found her in bed, unclothed. She had lit some candles and implored me to engage with her intimately. I activated my camera and instructed her to reiterate her previous statement. I appreciate everyone who brought this up as a precaution. For some reason, my erection failed to convey to her that I was not interested. I have accomplished it. I did not exhibit kindness. I placed her in challenging positions and engaged with intensity. I expressed my desire for anal and conveyed my wish to hear her plead for it. Everything has been documented. Afterward, I experienced a whirlwind of mixed emotions. I have deep affection for her, yet I also feel a sense of indifference towards her. I have a strong dislike for her and hold her in low regard. I desire her and sense a deep need for her, yet the thought of us brings me pain. We drifted off to sleep side by side. I awoke feeling somewhat hungover and found it challenging to face my reflection in the mirror. Tuesday, D-Day +5. The therapy session lasted for 2.5 hours. To my surprise, she trailed behind me and was curious about my activities. I informed her that I was seeking therapy to address the emotional trauma I experienced after coming to terms with the fact that I had invested a significant portion of my life in someone who could not provide any justification for her infidelity. I found myself a bit vocal and with tears in my eyes. My forthcoming therapist observed the majority of the interaction. I used despicable language towards her and expressed a wish for her demise. My session was undeniably intense. The doctor prescribed sedatives for me, and I have a shorter appointment scheduled for Thursday. We explored my feelings of anger and betrayal, my sense of emasculation, and my apprehensions about the future. I conveyed that I am deeply apprehensive about what lies ahead. Last week, I experienced a profound sense of fulfillment. I envisioned my objectives and aspirations. I had a collaborator to address any challenges and hurdles that arose. At this moment, I find myself adrift, akin to a vessel lacking both rudder and mast. I experience a complete lack of direction, power, or resources to escape this situation. He began to clarify the reasons I was eager to understand. It is not merely one question. This series of questions is quite intriguing. One can certainly apply this to any behavior for which one seeks to elucidate the underlying motivation. He suggested that I should instead calmly inquire of my soon-to-be ex-wife what within herself allowed her to do this to me. While there were additional items to address, this particular one stood out the most. I shared with him the details regarding the intimate encounter. He suggested that I establish clear guidelines concerning our physical relationship. He ultimately advised against my continued pursuit of it. It would significantly complicate matters unless my objective was reconciliation. I wept. I expressed my anger fervently. I departed feeling utterly drained. My soon-to-be ex-wife remained outside awaiting my arrival. I passed by her without acknowledging her questions or her pleas. I received a call from the physician's office regarding testing and attended the scheduled appointment. I provided him with the concise version. He advised discontinuing alcohol consumption and using the sedatives with caution. Upon returning home, I began the process of removing my belongings from the house and carefully boxing them up. I have made the decision to relocate. I contacted the office to arrange a face-to-face meeting. At this moment, I find it impossible to engage with or focus on genuine life and death matters. I traveled to the hospital's administrative building, met with the team, and officially submitted my 6-week resignation. My role is highly specialized, making 6 weeks a fundamental courtesy. I expressed clearly that the actions of my soon-to-be ex-wife had created a stressful home environment, and that my continued presence in this area would negatively impact patients, the team, and my own well-being. I have made the decision to relocate in a distant place. Upon returning home, I collected a few groceries. It has been approximately a week since I have consumed more than a small portion of food, relying primarily on alcohol for sustenance. Following the guidance of both my therapist and my physician's friend, I made the decision to prepare some food and refrain from drinking. She sat in the dimly lit living room, savoring a glass of wine. She meticulously arranged the photographs and was reviewing them with care. She had applied her makeup and donned a dress suitable for a romantic evening out. She had shed many tears. Her makeup appeared to be poorly applied. She rose and attempted to envelop me in her embrace. I gently nudged her aside and theatrically retrieved my phone, activating the recording function. She began to weep once more. She informed me that the AP's wife had reached out to her, revealing that he had been involved with other women in addition to her. She admitted that she was indeed a fool and that every derogatory name I had used to describe her was accurate. She implored me to reflect on our relationship. I questioned, "What is the point?" She did not when she chose to betray me. I expressed my apologies for the fact that her deceit had been uncovered, yet I sensed that her regret stemmed more from being caught than from any genuine remorse for her actions towards me. I expressed to her that it seemed she would need to begin anew, and her reaction indicated that this notion troubled her more than the loss of any affection she may have had for me. I stated that she forsook her love for me, or for us, 2 years ago when she made this decision. I continued to add to her burden. I communicated to her about my call to the corporate compliance line and outlined the specific rules that were violated. I maintained a calm demeanor and did not express anger. I felt a slight tremor, as if everything was swiftly departing from me. I experienced a profound sense of elation intertwined with an equally deep feeling of despondency. Upon completion, a sense of emptiness enveloped me. I stored the limited groceries I had purchased and prepared a modest sandwich before retiring for the night. Once more, she was present. I retrieved my phone and, with the recorder activated, shared with her the insights my therapist had conveyed concerning the topic of sex. Throughout the past 17 years, I cannot remember a single instance in which I have turned down or rejected intimacy with her. I requested that she retire to the guest bedroom for the night. She declined. I agreed, so I would proceed accordingly. Wednesday, 6 days post D-Day. I awoke to find her nestled beside me. I stepped away and engaged in some light exercises. I have been diligently refining my resume and submitting applications. There is a possibility that I will be working in Seattle by the end of the year. I hold deep affection for my parents and will truly miss the convenience of being just 20 minutes away from them, particularly as they enter their later years. This city is no longer a place where I can remain. The prospect of encountering her once this is concluded is not a notion I wish to consider. I desire liberation, free from any reminders of my sense of loss and the compromises that have defined my life. The day was rather uneventful, characterized by intermittent rain throughout. I gathered with my closest friend and provided him with a summary during an early dinner. We made the decision to abstain from drinking. My attorney indicated that my relocation will not influence the financial outcome. I will be utilizing my paid time off until the end of October and allocating my portion of our liquid savings for relocation and settling in. I find myself feeling hollow, and while I attempt to chuckle at his amusing jokes, it requires considerable effort. I continually encounter a profound void that exerts an intense gravitational force. I have never considered the idea of ending my own life, yet in recent days and nights I find myself daydreaming about what it might be like if I were not present. I will be discussing this with my therapist tomorrow. My soon-to-be ex-wife has been frequenting the library, while I have been observing her activities online and delving into relationship literature. I have been perusing Chump Lady. It is exceptional material. She received a call from her workplace. I overheard a brief segment of the conversation, yet I am aware that she has a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, despite her assertions of being unwell. She found herself in bed once more, reminiscent of the previous nights. I find myself in a state of deep conflict. I yearn to experience something profound, yet all I seem to feel is a deep-seated hatred and resentment towards her, leading me to desire only a sadistic form of intimacy. I must confess that during the intense experience we shared on Monday, I felt a sense of exhilaration akin to a runner's high. However, the following day brought a wave of self-directed anger. I find myself experiencing a slight uncertainty about my decision to not pursue her return. I understand that she made a significant mistake, but I'm uncertain whether I can move past it or offer forgiveness. I find myself in a state of disarray. I outlined the ground rules for her, with my phone recording concerning our sexual relationship. I informed her that it did not suggest reconciliation or any hidden message indicating that I desired such a thing. I informed her that this is likely a case of hysterical bonding and may not be beneficial. I informed her that I would not be gentle or considerate of her feelings or needs during the process. Her eyes glistened with tears as she nodded in understanding. She softly expressed that she was worthy of it. She subsequently turned over and positioned herself on all fours. Thursday, 7 days post D-Day. I awoke to her warmth enveloping me as she spooned beside me. I remained still for a time, listening as her breathing shifted in rhythm. I sensed her gaze upon me. I inquired, my back turned to her, about the subject of her upcoming meeting. She mentioned that it was an HR representative and anticipated that the outcome might not be favorable. I responded affirmatively. She inquired about what actions she could take to restore our balance or equality. I remained silent. She proposed an open marriage from my side. She would refrain from pursuing anyone, yet I could take that initiative. I laughed softly. No, I do not place my trust in her. She stated that it was equitable. Our discussion took place with my back turned to her. It proved to be simpler than gazing upon her. Her face fills me with anger. I inquired about my actions in this marriage that contributed to her profound unhappiness, leading to this situation. She remarked that I was exceptional. I chuckled once more. Clearly, that is of no consequence. She described it as an adventure. It was as if she thrived on the exhilaration. It wasn't until the moment had passed that she understood the potential consequences of her actions. If she were to be discovered or if anything went awry, it would lead to pain for everyone involved. She expressed that it was both a significant relief and an indelible pain when I confronted her. I rose early and prepared breakfast for us. I visited my therapist and shared my work plan, along with the responses I had received for my applications. I shared all the details regarding my soon-to-be ex-wife and our intimate experiences. We engaged in a conversation about my suicidal thoughts and explored the process associated with them. Once more, he wasn't passing judgment. He simply wished for me to avoid confusion or, should I find myself unclear, to take a moment to reflect and comprehend. The session lasted just 1 hour and 55 minutes, yet I experienced that peculiar sense of calm once more. In this moment, it feels as though nothing holds significance. Everything simply exists. Upon my arrival home, I found her seated in the living room. She informed me that she was terminated due to a breach of protocol concerning client information and a violation of data security protocols. I remarked, "Well, that's unfortunate." I engaged in a workout and prepared a delightful dinner. She accompanied me. Our conversation was minimal. As we sat in the living room, she informed me that AP had also been let go. I stated that it was satisfactory. She informed me that she has not been in contact with him for the past 5 days. I inquired, why not? They had both attained their freedom at last. She had the opportunity to travel to her soulmate and enjoy all the delightful experiences they desired now. She expressed that I was the sole person she desired. I must decline. You possessed every part of me, yet it still fell short. I informed her that throughout nearly 2 decades of professional experience and our relationship, I had been approached and flirted with more times than I could possibly enumerate. I successfully refrained from developing romantic feelings or engaging in intimate relationships with anyone else. I find myself feeling quite resentful and frustrated due to the concessions I have accepted. She inquired, "What compromises?" I expressed to her my desire to pursue medical school, yet I chose to marry and seek stability. Although I did not wish for children, I embraced the idea because they were an integral part of her, leading me to compromise. I expressed that I made those sacrifices for the sake of our love. Clearly, I had misallocated my trust and affection towards her. I expressed to her that, if given the chance to revisit the past, I would advise my 26-year-old self to reconsider that choice. She inquired once more about what actions she could take to reunite us. I informed her that I will not compromise for her again, which signifies that we cannot maintain a healthy relationship. I informed her that my love for her had come to an end, and that, at most, I would regard her merely as an object of desire. Otherwise, she would not play a role in my plans or considerations. I informed her that it was merely a week prior. She occupied my thoughts from the moment I awoke until the last moment before I drifted off to sleep. The pain of contemplating her is overwhelming. I have decided to step away from this situation. It seems to be persistently reminding me of various matters. I am deeply grateful to the compassionate individuals with whom I had the privilege to converse, who generously shared their experiences and struggles that have profoundly aided me. Overall, this has proven to be a beneficial endeavor for me. However, I find myself continuously revisiting thoughts and emotions that I would prefer to leave behind. I continue to feel uncertain about my desires. I am uncertain if I will ever feel completely assured about anything with her again. I will be attending bi-weekly appointments with my therapist for the next 4 years. That was quite a challenging read, OP. Ultimately, no matter the outcome, I encourage you to put forth your utmost effort to return to the person you were prior to this event. Your emotional turmoil and suffering are evident and entirely understandable. It is essential to continue with the therapy and steer clear of the harmful behaviors that are manifesting, such as alcohol consumption and not eating. Strive to seek peace. Above all else, it is essential to seek tranquility.